Hi, I'm Alyson Brown. I'm here at the Propagation Department in White Flower Farm, Litchfield, Connecticut. And I'm here to talk to you about tip cuttings or softwood cuttings on perennials. There's lots of different plants that you could do by tip cuttings. You do phlox. We have Nepeta here. We have some lavender here. When you want to take cuttings and you want to propagate, you want to take tip cutting from a healthy plant. You don't want to take wilted cuttings. Make sure it's well watered the day before. Also, you want to have clean utensils, clean soil. It's kind of like cooking. Today we're going to take cuttings of Nepeta Walker's Low. We need about 20. We want to take about 3 to 5 nodes, and it might be easier to show you what we do on the coleus. It's an annual, not a perennial, because it's really easy to take the nodes. I'm going to cut it really big so you can see really well. You see right there at the tip of my knife, you have the actual tip, and that's considered a node. Then you have another node down here, so that's 2 and 3. So this one will take 4. We can really see where the nodes are, and this is really nice. You have like another little node right here, and the nodes are, the interspace between them is really short here. So you can see where the leaf comes out, and there's another little area of growth. We need about 20, and I'm going to start to take about 20. We want to take the top cutting, about 3 to 4 nodes, and so you can see there's a new pair of leaves coming off right in between the leaf and the stem, and that's a node. This is not too bad, but sometimes the internodes, or the space between the nodes, are fairly long. You don't want to have what we call a tail on it too long. You just want to have it a little shorter. You don't want to have it like an inch long. Half an inch is great. So we have our cuttings. And there's several different materials you could use. Sometimes you could stick them straight. It will take longer. We usually use a type of rooting hormone. We usually use a liquid rooting hormone just because it's easier for us. There's also the powder out there, and there's a gel out there. When you use the liquid, it comes in a concentrate, and we dilute it depending on 1 part per 20 or 1 part per 10, depending on what we're trying to propagate here. Today we're using 1 to 10 ratio. So I'm going to put on some gloves because it is a chemical. Now that we've taken the cuttings, we're ready to stick them. You want to stick them in a fine media, nothing too coarse, something nice and fine. And we water our flats before we stick our cuttings. When you want to use the solution, you just need to dip it in for about 3 seconds. Then just follow the package directions. I know with powders, you have to wet the cutting first and then dip it into the powder. And you got to think about contamination. Like I may want to use, after I've dipped all these in here, I may not want to use the rest of this for something else. Now, and optimum temperatures for rooting are anywhere from, it's between 60 and 70. You can root lower and you can root higher. Sometimes it'll just take longer. You just want to think about what's optimal. And again, depending on your environment that you're setting for it and the plant you're taking cuttings of, it'll depend on how long it'll take to root as well. Somewhere 3 to 6 weeks is good. Here at the nursery, we have misting benches, but at home you may use a cover or a cloche, some type of saran wrap or plastic wrap to keep the moisture level, a nice high humidity under where your cuttings are. Walker's Low. And the date, 20. There you go. Just really keep an eye on the humidity. You want enough so you can see the moisture collect, but you don't want it to so you can't see your cuttings. And you may have to take the cover off every now and then to regulate the humidity in there. Now we're going to propagate from a lavender. As you can see, it's flowering. We don't want any of the flowering stems to propagate from, so we're going to cut those off. Because it's the old growth, it's special growth that's going to flower, and it's going to take longer to root. So right here you may have counted, we can count 1 and then estimate the rest. Now these are opposite, but we have 1 node there, 1 node there, and another one there. So I'm going to cut right below that one. And you just want to take the tip back because that's where the active growth is. And you're going to really have a better success rate. And just keep in mind, with lavender, you may want to have less humidity in the propagation area than you did with the Nepeta. Lavender sometimes takes for us about 4 to 5 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on the time of year, in order to root. In order to expedite and speed up rooting, sometimes you can put it under a heat mat under it, so you're warming the root zone in the bottom area, and that will sometimes accelerate it. You just want to make sure it's not too hot, and also just really good humidity and really checking on that and making sure it's not too moist will expedite rooting as well. And this is one of our perennial lavenders. It's Lavender Grosso. Let's stick that in there. And we'll cover. And in order to check for humidity, if it starts to drip down the side or drip down the center, especially easily to tell with this kind of top, once it starts dripping, then you know you have excess moisture. So maybe leave it off for an hour and then put it back on. But you just don't want them to dry out because they don't have any way. They don't have roots, so they have no way to take up moisture. So you have to provide it. When we do our lavender, it takes about 6 weeks for us to get something nice like this. We're ready to transplant, and it has a nice set of roots on there. In order to have better success, we stick it into a smaller pot. Something like a 2 to 3 inch pot would be ideal.